Last time we talked about the problem clients, so now let's get into how to find the perfect clients. Now, finding the right clients is essential to anyone who wants to have a successful freelance business. You could be the best at what you do, but your business will suffer if you don't find the right clients. The key word here is the right clients. You don't want just any client. Instead of working for just anyone who will pay you, your goal here is to find your ideal clients and target them specifically. So how do you find your ideal clients? What makes them stand out from other clients? And once you identify them, how do you reach out to them? You're going to learn all of that and more in today's video, where I'll step you through how to find your perfect client. Hey everyone, I'm Brant and this is Indy, a productivity platform to help you manage your freelance business from start to finish. You know those guys that want to charge you thousands of dollars to turn you into a freelancing expert? Well, we're doing it for free because we know just how challenging it can be out there, and we want to make freelancing simple. So if that sounds like the stuff you want to know more about, hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these tips. Now, in order to figure out who your perfect client is, we need to break down 3 different sections, each with their own set of questions that you need to answer for yourself. The first section we're going to talk about is decide what you are looking for. A dream client for one freelancer could be very different from another freelancer's. This comes down to your personal goals, your character, and how you want to run your business. So decide on a few things when you're determining your dream client. First of all, you got to think about your niche. You need to be very clear about your niche and the type of service that you provide. Once you have a clear idea, you'll be able to find clients who are more likely to hire you. For example, being a copywriter is one thing, but being a copywriter who specializes in the tech industry and software as a service businesses is another. It can take time to work out your niche, but it's something that's going to help you narrow down your target audience, so it's important to spend some time thinking about it. Next, you want to think about what you enjoy doing. If you're a web designer, then it's clear that you enjoy designing, but you need to think beyond the skill that you provide. For example, do you prefer to work on long, ongoing projects, or would you rather work on short, one-off projects? Would you rather work with small businesses where you work directly with the owner, or would you rather work with large companies? There's no rule regarding whether you work with small companies, large multinationals, or both, but just be sure to be clear about your preferences. Next, you want to think about your values. What's the one thing that matters the most to you when you work with a client? And also, what's a no-go for when you work with a client? A client may not share all of your values, so don't be too strict, but at the same time, there will be values that are more important to you than others. For example, maybe you only want to work with clients who have good environmental credentials. Or perhaps you don't want to work with clients who provide goods and services that don't align with your values, for example, gambling. And if you work with an agency, there's a good chance that they may have some clients that you don't want to work with either, so just keep that in mind. After you figure out who you don't want to work with, it's time to think about who you do like working with. Think of a great employer you've had in the past, or a great client you enjoyed working with. Did they have clear communication or a friendly personality? Pick a few personality traits and try to find them in your ideal clients. Personality traits are important because you may find a client who pays well, but you don't really enjoy working for them. And of course, you won't know what the client is like until you do speak with them, but keep these character traits in mind. In this next section, we're going to cover how you can carry out the research. You should now have a much clearer idea of what you should be looking for in your ideal clients. This will save you a lot of time in this next section, where you'll research which clients you want to approach. The first thing to do is to check whether they've worked with other freelancers or not. While it's not a bad thing if they haven't worked with other freelancers before, you won't have to put in as much effort to sell your services if they already know the benefits of working with freelancers. It's also easier because they already know the process regarding payments, deadlines, and expectations. So there's less explaining and educating on your part. Next, you want to find out what freelancers and employees are already saying about them. Reviews are everywhere online and play such an important role in the types of products we buy and the services we choose. They can also help freelancers. So if you find a client who looks like a good option, check to see what freelancers have to say about them. Search Google using the company's name and using keywords like employee review. You may find freelance feedback or feedback from a previous employee, which can provide some insight into what they're like to work for. Next, you want to research their clients. Most companies will have a few case studies or testimonials on their websites, so use these to find out what types of clients they work for. For instance, if you're looking at an agency and you don't recognize the industry that most of their clients are in, you should probably reconsider pitching them. Next, you want to follow the client on social media. You can find out a lot about them this way. Social media provides a much more personal side to the business, and how the people at the business act on social media can give you some important clues whether you want to approach this business or not. Check to see how they respond to comments and criticism. Do they come across professional and friendly? And also, along with their social media sites, you should be reading their blogs, researching their marketing messages, and finding out what industry events they attend. All of which are great ways to give you more insight. And now that you know who your ideal clients are, now it's time to pitch them. The first two steps should have given you a clear idea of who you want to start pitching and filtering out the kinds of clients that you don't want to work with. So now you want to write down your list of potential clients and start crafting the perfect pitch to try to land them. And you want to use your pitch to do some more research. The research isn't over yet. Just because you're pitching a client doesn't mean you want to work with them. So use your pitch to determine whether they're gonna be a good fit. Introduce yourself in a way that makes you an appealing prospect, and once you get the conversation going, ask them questions like, do they work with freelancers? What sort of rates do they pay? What are the client's problems that you can help with? Pay close attention to how they respond, their tone, and how they come across as a potential partner. All of this can be important information on whether you want to continue pursuing them. And after you finish the research, the last thing you want to consider are your deal breakers. As you grow your client base, you can afford to be pickier in the clients that you work with. These deal breakers will differ from freelancer to freelancer, and what may be a red flag for you may be perfect for somebody else. So write down your list of red flags. That way you'll know when to walk away no matter what part of the journey you're in. Here are a few things to watch out for. The first, low rates. If you're clear about your rates from the start, you may be put off when a client suddenly says that you're far too expensive to work with and can only offer you a much lower rate. Unfortunately, this is part of the freelancing lifestyle, and a certain level of negotiation shouldn't be considered negative. However, it can definitely be a warning sign if a client pays well below your rate and you already know that the rate you're charging is industry standard for your level of experience. This could suggest that the client doesn't fully appreciate your work, and that could lead to more problems down the line. So if the rate is well below your expectations, it might be best just to walk away. Next, you should watch out for any unpaid trials. Now, trials can be very common in the freelance industry. Typically, if a client hasn't worked with you before, they may offer for you to work on a trial project. But the key thing here is the trial should be paid. If the trial isn't paid, this can be another big red flag. You could end up working on a project for hours and hours, and as you know, for freelancers, time is money. Now, only you can decide if an unpaid trial is worth it to you or not. If you see huge potential with this client and you feel like you're in a position to take an unpaid trial, totally up to you, but it's definitely something to be cautious about. And the last thing you want to look at are poor contract terms. Most contracts are pretty straightforward, but it's always important to look through a contract that a new client has you sign. You might find that a contract has terms that you don't want to accept. For example, they may want you to only work with them and not any other clients from the same industry. And as a freelancer, that can be a huge challenge, especially if that niche is your expertise. So be clear about what you're prepared to accept. And it's also a good idea to come prepared with your own contract. That way you have more control over what clauses go into the contract, and you can make sure that you're both benefiting from this relationship. Identifying your ideal clients and targeting them is one of the keys to having a successful freelance career. And the more ideal clients you work with, the better your business will go. On top of that, it just makes your work more enjoyable. For even more tips, you can check out our articles on this topic in the description box below. And if you're just starting out in your freelancing journey or you're looking for more advice, hit that subscribe button. Indy is a company of freelancers just like you, and we want to give you the advice that we wish we knew along the way to help you grow your business. So let us know in the comments what you want to know more about, and I'll see you next time.